Hello there. My name's Adam, and I have very accurate ability to not do anything.
My name's James, and I have a unique capability of spotting Adam not doing anything.
That's right.
unThinkMe.
That's right. UnThinkMe is a show where we discuss a lot of kind of out there topics, a lot to do with psycho-spiritual stuff, meditation, and integral theory. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk about a little model that I kind of came up with based pretty heavily on Jung and Ken Wilber. I call Four Selves Model: personality, ego, psyche, consciousness. And we're going to talk about the semantics of those words because the common usage and the common understanding may or may not differ from psychological definitions and from the way I'm personally using them.
We've had some things in the comments about, well, you said ego, but I picture ego as this. And then Adam and I just very recently got into a discussion. We're not fighting. We're having a discussion.
I'm fighting.
Well, that's your ego, buddy.
Better not. No, you better not.
Is it or is it not?
There you go. That is the question, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms, kiss a sea of fucking troubles, to die, to sleep perchance to dream no more.
Oh, my own troubles.
But anyway, if you got it in your heart right now and you like the way my face looks and somewhat like the way James's face looks, go ahead and hit that like button. That's what that means. Over here, you got your subscribe. That means that our channel does a little better and it has really no effect on you. So that would just be a pretty darn nice thing to do.
It's free and it takes a half a second to click that.
Exactly. Like, I don't even see why you're being such a jerk about it.
I don't know either.
We just want you to subscribe so that we can do our show. You're like over there.
You know what? Today we should start our show by belittling the people who actually watch it.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great. We'll see how that works for us.
We're also on, we also have a playlist on Spotify for podcasters, and we have a TikTok account that we put our shorts on.
No,
Probably the best way to get a hold of me, if you want to connect with me personally, is on Discord. We have our own server. There should be a link in the description down below. You know, join the server. We'd love to get the numbers up to where it's public, and then I don't have to merch it out every time. It's very nice. We have a good time together. So come on out.
So here's something I think everyone will enjoy. We talked about the definitions of ego and personality. So, like the assholes we are, we tried to look it up at each other. I looked up the Oxford definition because that's what Google AI just did. And Adam went a little bit farther and looked up Merriam-Webster's definition, and we found that they're similar. So I'd like to...
Well, let me restate what you just said, too, because it's fun to say. So I'm using these words in a special way, and James is like, well, that's not really what that word means, and he's correct. And to prove this, he looked it up on the best dictionary. But then, in my defensiveness, I was like, yeah, but what's the best dictionary? So then we came to the conclusion that Merriam-Webster's is probably the best U.S. dictionary, and Oxford is probably the best English dictionary. England,
right.
England. Basically, what we find is that, like, the number one definition is what James thinks, right? So he's correct. The number 2 or 3 or 4, the like down the line one is the psychological definition, which I'm closer to, but I'm also taking it in an integral theory direction, which abstracts it a little bit from that. So we're talking
So
about
to put
developmental
put all that nonsense into context,
Yeah.
we got into economics, more specifically voodoo economics.
Voodoo.
When you say demand, that sounds like it probably has some negative connotation, some overlord type stuff. I'm stomping my foot, putting my foot in the sand and saying, right now, demand. But when
Give
we
me
talk
my
about
candy.
Exactly. When we talk about economics and candy, demand is now just what the market wants. It's not one person on a mountaintop saying, you know, I want candy. So there's a little example of how definitions can differ when talking about subject matter.
Well,
So
that's
this
true.
is Oxford Dictionary's ego. First comment is self-esteem, egotism. I don't like that it used ego in the definition, and self-importance. To move, travel, journey. What? Let's jump over to Merriam. First thing, the self, especially as contrasted with another self or the world. Okay.
In general parlance, we're using ego almost like an adjective. It's like I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm ego. I'm being selfish right now. Ego
Mm-hmm.
is very tied with selfishness, and selfishness, this is an Ayn Rand thing. Selfishness can mean different things to different people.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you're being selfish, you'll probably be really nice to people so that you get people being nice to you. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably take care of things and you'll have high self-esteem. But when we say ego, we're talking about low self-esteem and needing to defend yourself from everybody and impulsive and irrational kind of stuff. And so a difference between an adjective and a structure, like as a psychological structure, we're talking about like right now, I am experiencing Adam. That's ego. And I know what Adam is. That's ego. I know where he's been. I have a good idea where he's going. The whole picture, the whole story of Adam. That's what Adam calls ego. And that's slightly different than the psychological structure of ego.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super different than the common usage, which is a negative term in general. You don't usually go like, "Oh, James, you have such a big ego." Like
Your
you're just
ego
abundant,
is so amazing.
just a really
Ego,
big
yeah,
self.
typically it has the connotations of being a selfish prick, a really like loud, charismatic asshole. Like that, when we say
Screwing people
ego,
over. Yeah.
that's typically what you think of. Is I thought that way, and I'm adjusting because of reading these definitions and hearing Adam's definition as it pertains to altitudes and quadrants and in self. So it's very new to me to think of ego as just a thing and not a concept of part of a thing.
Ego in common speech, that's actually what I call personality, which is like a
Mm-hmm.
subcomponent of ego. It's like those things that we call selfish actually aren't, they're immediately selfish, they're impulsive, but they're really
Mm-hmm.
not selfish in terms of the atom strategizing to get the best and most abundant and happiest outcome. Like that sounds like a pretty good thing. Selfishness, ego, it's not intrinsically bad unless you're screwing other people over to get,
Right.
or harming or manipulating, whatever that is. And that's
So
what we generally mean.
let's take a quick second and cut back to the tape since we
Yeah.
mentioned personality. I've got a, how do I, honey, there it goes. Okay. Personality, Oxford Dictionary. The quality of collection of qualities which makes a person distinctive, individual, the distinctive personal or individual character of a person. Oxford.
That's what I would call a person's character.
Mm-hmm.
Jung would use personality more in that sense, where it's a long-term thing. It's kind of your patterns. It's the things that people would associate with you. Like Adam's shy. That's his personality. When I use personality, I'm talking about in a particular moment, I'm acting shy. I'm playing the role of a shy person for some purpose. And either I'm conscious of that. Yeah. Either I'm conscious of that purpose and that I'm playing a role, or I'm not conscious of that. If I am conscious of it, I'm at the stage of ego. I'm aware that I'm being selfish right now. That's the structure of ego has awareness of what the personality is doing.
I think
the personality doesn't know.
I think Miriam closer matches what we're talking about here. The quality or state of being a person.
The quality or state of being a person. That. Hey, James, how's your personality going today?
Yeah, it's okay. I guess I'm being a person. Well, the definition that Google AI immediately came up with was something very similar to this on the Oxford side. But then the second definition was an actor. Like, oh.
And that's it. I like
was
that.
the personality side. Yeah. So my big reveal there didn't pay off. But there's what most commonly is referred to as ego and personality by Oxford and Merriam. Let's not forget Webster.
Integral Semantics.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And if we're being real, if we want to be more semantic, probably the word I should use is persona and personae. And personality should refer more to like the stuff you test in Myers-Briggs. Mm-hmm. Like your long-term, the roles you play most often is how I might say that kind of hashes out. I would also say the quality or state of being a person is in my opinion, ego. So again, it's both ego and personality. You're a person at the stage of personality and ego. And to a lesser extent, psyche, you're kind of questioning whether you're a person or a consciousness itself. Like,
and here's where I disagree. Here's where I agree so hard that it's going to sound like I'm disagreeing. I don't think you can actually separate the two. They are mutually functioning things.
Yes.
Internally and externally. BT dubs, everybody. If you've taken the Myers-Briggs or have any interest in Myers-Briggs, put it down in the comments. We've talked a lot about it in real life. I don't know how much we've talked about it in the last however many episodes we've been doing this.
It's been
But
hot.
Myers-Briggs is something that's kind of interesting. And Adam and I don't know if it's common or uncommon because I don't look at a lot of people's results. We fall like right in the 55-45% on a lot of things. So basically, it like kind of has to
Yours
do
was
with
all of them, right? You were like right in the middle on all of them.
like
Yeah.
what's my mood, not just today, but as I'm taking this, because it could shift a 5-point shift in either direction, and then I get a different letter, and then Adam argues with me about who I am as a person, and then I eat chocolate and feel better.
Yeah. Myers-Briggs, MBTI types, or Jungian types, kind of the same thing, fall into in integral theory, the types module of the aquila latus, that's a types thing. And my thesis, why I made a bunch of videos on that, is I believe that those correlate with the quadrants extremely well. So that's why you see the quadrant model with the sensing, feeling, thinking, intuiting. Just a thing I'm coming up with. I don't know if other people have made that connection or if it's like a standard thing that everyone does. I have no idea. I haven't seen it, and I feel like I came up with it, but I don't know.
It's so standard that no one even talks about it.
There's this kind of backwards thing in development. Like, for example, orange meme rational. It's just like a thing works because it's proven to work, right? That kind of thing. It's proven. We know if the assumptions that have held our entire life will continue to hold. So that's orange meme rational. You would assume that a human being entering the world would start out like that because it just makes sense. It's like, okay, here I am in a world. I should figure out what's true and what's not. They don't do it.
That's
babies,
not true at all.
Babies and toddlers and infants do not learn that until like a good ways into school. And it's a continual thing. It's a spectral thing. But, you know, kids are impulsive and rash and they make stupid choices. And that's why we have to take care of them. They have not yet developed that thing that seems so obvious once you get it to find out whether something's true or not. I make the same point about language, and I'm making the same point here. The first thing you start to do is not understand who you are and what's going on. It's playing roles to get things. It's getting mad to get nurture. It's crying to get nurture. It's yelling to get your way. Those are persona. You enact this character unconsciously. It just happens. You enact this character. I would kill you. You know what? That's not you. That's a thing that's come out of you. But you don't.
You're
you
playing
identify
a role
with
in a
it.
specific situation.
The immature person, you know, up to whatever age, if you like, or level, if you like, is reacting to things without really understanding why. It's just, when I'm mad, the world sucks. Everyone hates me. You're being a jerk. I can't win at anything. That's how everything is. The ego, then, as a structure, would just kind of like take a step back. You know, that orange meme rational, like, is this true? Is the world actually okay? Well, no, because over the long time horizon, I'm about in the middle, and I get mad and I get happy and I get all these emotions. So now you're starting to identify. You believe that you are this process, this ego that governs the roles that you play. And so now you have self-control, which gets into more problems because you get too self-controlled and you get too bossy about yourself with your super ego. That's another part of you that bosses you around to make you a better person, and it hurts your feelings. Obviously, in spiritual circles and spiritual discussions, ego is the bad guy because, like we say, as you go up levels, you disidentify with ego. But that is not to say ego is the bad guy or is not a good thing to do if you're trying to go up in levels. You need a really strong, healthy, selfish ego. You need to take care of yourself, have a healthy body, I should assume, so that you don't die. All this stuff remains exactly the same as you build the top of it, as you explore psyche and consciousness. So that's a big beef I have with a lot of kind of spiritual stuff, spiritual bypassing, trying to pretend that you don't have to do the lower work and standard old stuff you do in therapy. That stuff is kind of irrelevant to the enlightened realization. It only matters on its own level. If you transcend into pure consciousness, and whether you're alive or dead is just what's happening, and it doesn't really affect you because you're simply the field of awareness that's noticing it, it's still there. The thing that you're seeing is still there. The atom being punched in the face still exists. And the personality that's mad about it still exists. It all still exists. You're just floating aware of it. So that's higher stuff. We're not going to get into higher too much, but I wanted to mention the criminalization of ego and my disapproval of it as ego.
I do want to bring up just really briefly, my wife and I have lately been talking about sort of armchair analyzing people who believe they're victims in their own life. So to give a precursor, we were watching some...
So like 90% of people.
Well, maybe. We were watching some dumb show, just some like thriller horror series. And this guy cheated on his wife. Okay, that's not so uncommon in real life. And so he's like explaining to his wife why he cheated and why this other wife, like, mutual cheating going on here, had cheated on their spouses. And it was because, like, it's just like my whole life, I just felt like, I got married because I was supposed to, and had kids because I was supposed to. And, I just don't know how I got here. Why are you making a victim out of yourself? You're like calling yourself an absolute out of control idiot your whole life. This is, and this may be something that we can talk about or not, but it is something that we've been talking about. My wife and I have been talking about. How can you be so blind? Martyrism of your own life. Like they don't actually come out and say I've been a victim, but they're like victim shaming themselves on the choices they've made.
And this is why I say it's developmental. We all start out as victims. Babies are straight up victims. I mean,
hell yeah,
defenseless.
They have no choice in anything that happens to them.
The only way to stop being a victim is to learn and grow and develop and mature and open yourself to things. Yeah, the victim is the default, though. I
think also admitting that you've made the wrong choice. Like, okay, I've made this choice, whether in this situation, okay, I got married because it seemed like the right thing to do. Okay, so you did that. That's done. You can't change that part.
Right.
But as soon as you realized, that this was a bad idea, you only get one life. That's it. Well, in a lot of beliefs, you only get one life. But okay, so in this case, you only get one life and you're unhappy. Why would you stay unhappy?
Ego only gets one life, for sure. I know that.
Sure, yeah. So like,
sure.
This victimization of your own choices seems like a real cop-out that you are a weak piece of shit. You get caught up in it. This person was like in their late 40s in this television show, this make-believe character. Late 40s before he's starting to look back and say, like, all these things just kind of happened to me. No, you made every single one of those decisions all along the way and just settled and lived with it. Expecting what? You're going to die and be like, well, everyone else thought I was a good person, so I feel good about that, but I was miserable the whole time. Like, what a horrible existence.
Whenever anybody says, like, supposed to, I kind of call that out. Like, supposed by who? What do you mean? You're not responsible to supposed out there.
Society norms.
You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to have kids. You're supposed to get divorced if you're unhappy. You're supposed to not cheat on someone. Yeah. So keep with the pattern if that's what you're doing.
Find the right one, right? Whatever that may be.
Oh, I just did the hiccup while laughing again. You all saw it. Ugh. Now that I edit and watch myself, I notice I go, it's just a deviated septum or something.
Danielle will, whenever she takes that first, you've made the observation of when I'm smoking a cigarette, the first drag is always like the deepest, longest drag. And it's, that's what Daddy likes. Same thing when my wife opens a soda, the first drink she has, no matter like big drink, small drink, sip, whatever, she will hiccup.
So the ego is the one who starts being the supposer of things. The personality is supposed to do everything. Oh, I had to go here. So classically, the simple kind of model is personality, personae, roles you play. Right now, I'm podcasting, so I'm acting a certain way or trying to act a certain way. And perhaps I'm acting another certain way unconsciously, not on purpose. Both of those I would call personality or personae. I'm kind of, as we have this discussion, I'm liking the word personality less and less because
Okay.
it does also mean the overall style of a person. So it's like if you take persona and extend out, yeah,
That's
right.
more segmented than personality is just who you are, which I
Yeah.
believe could slowly grow, shrink, adapt throughout your life. But persona is like situational, I think. Yeah. Better.
And you
I
had
think you're
kind of
right.
put
Better
it
word.
in a little bit in introverted and extroverted terms too, which wasn't really how I just hadn't really thought of it that way, but it seems like the persona is sort of extroverted. It's what people see about you. And if people were to say, what's Adam's personality like? They'd be kind of averaging out all the different persona I do. But they wouldn't really be talking about ego because I have secrets. They don't know everything that my ego knows. So
Right. Here's where we started to diverge and just started looking up definitions. What I was saying, and I hope this doesn't confuse our community as much as it confused me. When I think of ego, that ego, whether you're introverted or extroverted, could be hurt by the same thing. I'm hurt by being called short. I'm hurt by being called fat or whatever. It doesn't matter. But you're hurt by something. Your persona then would execute on an introvert or extrovert side, whatever you lean towards in the situation. If I am surrounded by, first graders and one of them calls me short, I can very easily mentally dominate the room to ostracize the person that called me short. Or I can laugh and be like, "Oh, we're all short," and then start singing a song and win the room that way as well. So when I was talking about ego is solid, where persona is very variable. That's what I was saying.
I would say, yeah, ego is like a thing that very, very, very slowly changes its code over time, perhaps even. Maybe not at all. I mean,
Moral shifts as you
yeah,
open
right.
yourself up and learn, ask, is this real or not? And that's really broad. Doing that lower level work on self and saying, I'm okay with being wrong in my morals if I can prove to myself one way or another. That would be the slow, subtle shifts in ego, I think, where persona is minute to minute and also external stimuli related. Like I was saying, room full of first graders calling me short. Well, that doesn't hurt my feelings that much. Room full of executives, and one of them murmurs to another one that I hear, "Oh, this guy's really short." I don't know why I picked short. That's not something for me, but it's just an example.
I was going to take a little break to do an affirmation, which is people find my shortness attractive.
Okay.
People like that. I'm happy that I'm short. Being short is nice. I get to live longer, most likely. I like it's cute when I hiccup when I laugh. I love that I hiccup when I laugh. And I want to also further confuse our audience by pointing out perhaps another dynamic. Ego, the way ego changes over time, we were talking about that slowly over time, could almost be thought of as levels. Like the changes to ego are
Okay.
like
Yeah.
amber to orange to green into
Those are ego.
teal.
Those are probably
Those
ego
are sort of
shifts.
egos. And then in the
Yeah.
horizontal, the persona that you play at at that level, those could be considered the personae. Like,
Mhm.
so I'm orange meme ego type, and then I act out my businessman and my father and my
Mhm.
all these roles, my car driver.
That's good. Yeah, that's a great connection.
I'm
We've
glad we
got
got to say the supposed to thing. I've wanted to say that for for 10 years. It's cool.
but yeah, and it's something that's
Watch out for
top
supposed
of
to.
mind for us.
Nobody
This is what I'm
supposes a
supposed to
damn
do.
thing. You're the
Why?
supposer.
No
You're the
one no
ego.
one has a right to 1 minute of your time.
I think we're aiming a little more short and sweet, and this feels really fast, but I think this is about it. Yeah.
Put
So
down,
let's,
hey, if you want to do a deeper
okay, my
dive
buddy.
or talk about anything else, let's bring it up in the comments. And I mean, the dudes abide. We
That's
look at
right.
the comments and we will make episodes shift or change topic and subject matter based on your guys' feedback. So hit those comments. If you want us to dig deeper in any of the things we talked about today, let us know. We will. It's just
En-
that easy.
Engage in every way. Totally. This was another. We're dumping toys out of the toy box. Go ahead and dump some more out. We're gonna
Hmm.
assemble this more. Yeah, this is beautiful. Let's give a yeah to the chicken. This one doesn't have a name. It's just a chicken.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
There
fuck
we
yeah.
go. I like
Oh,
that.
fuck yeah.
I like that one.
All right, everybody. It's about time to hit that old trail.
I thank you guys. Namaste. Thank you for being here with us. I had a weird brain farty thing in the channel management where I realized it's actually doing quite a bit better than I thought it was, just because I didn't understand how to read analytics correctly. And so really happy about that. Thank you guys. Oh my God. I've been engaging a little more. I've had a little more free time. I'm taking this a little more seriously. So keep them coming. I know it takes 3 months sometimes to answer stuff. And like, what's the point at that point? I don't know. It's just completionism thing. I want the comments to be beautiful, and
they're all read and heard.
Are.
Yes.
Yeah, they're so good. Oh man, I love it all. So thank you. Peace be with you.
Thanks, everybody. Check your egos at the door.
Wow. All right. Pretty solid. 5 seconds. We did it.
We friggin' did it.